Hello friends, myself Dr. Nidhi Darbari on My Education Treasure. In my previous video on lecturing skill of micro teaching, I had discussed about the meaning and components of the skill of lecturing. Today, in my present video, I am going to tell you about the observation schedule, evaluation sheet and micro plan of lecturing skill of micro teaching. First of all, I will tell you about the observation schedule of lecturing skill of micro teaching. In the pattern of observation schedule, you will have to write the name of the student teacher. After that, the class, date, subject, topic, period and duration has to be written. Lastly, you have to write the name of the supervisor. After you have written down the above preliminaries, you have to write the instructions. The first instruction is you have to grade the performance and indicate it by encircling the letter. Legend for the observation schedule is A means 95 to 100% use of the component, B means 85 to 94% use of the component, C means 75 to 84% use of the component. D means 65 to 74% use of the component. And E means 65% use of the component. After this, the observation schedule will be divided into 5 columns. In the first column, serial number will be written. In the second column, the components of lecturing skill will be mentioned. The components of lecturing skill are set induction, simplicity of language, clarity of voice, use of audiovisual aids, repetition of teaching points, change in interaction, speed of the lesson, organize material in logical order, establishing and maintaining contact with students, and closure. In the next column, frequencies will be written, which will be further divided into 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. After that, in the fourth column, grading will be done, and lastly, remarks of the teacher will come. After the observation schedule for lecturing skill of micro teaching, the next is the evaluation sheet. On the basis of evaluation sheet, the decision is made regarding the teaching or reteaching. In this, a 7-point scale is prepared bearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for recording which component of the skill has been used frequently. Marking 0 means that the component of the skill was completely absent in the process of teaching. Marking 1, 2, 3, 4 means that the component is normal in the skill of teaching. Similarly, 5, 6, 7 depicts the maximum presence of the respective component in the process of lesson teaching. In the pattern of evaluation sheet, in the skill of micro teaching, first of all, we have to write the name of the student teacher. After that, class, subject, topic, period and duration will be written. Lastly, the name of the supervisor will be mentioned. After writing the preliminaries, the evaluation sheet will be divided into 5 columns. In the first column, the serial number will be written. In the second column, the components of the lecturing skill in micro teaching will be written. The components of lecturing skill in micro teaching are set induction, simplicity of language, clarity of voice, use of audio-visual aids, repetition of teaching points, change in interaction, speed of the lesson, organize material in logical order, establishing and maintaining contact with students. The next 3 columns will consist of frequencies indicating minimum, normal and maximum. 1 or 2 frequencies will be minimum, 3, 4, 5 will be normal and 6 and 7 will be marked as maximum. Now we will come to the micro plan of lecturing skill of micro teaching. First of all, we will write the name of the student teacher, then class will be written. After that, date. After the date, subject, that is geography, and topic, that is volcano, has to be written. In the end, the name of the supervisor will be mentioned. After the preliminaries of the micro plan will be divided in 4 columns. In the first column, serial number will be written. In the second column, the teacher activity will be written. In the third column, the student activity will be written. And in the last column, the components of the lecturing skill of micro teaching will be mentioned. After entering the class, the pupil teacher will wish the students good morning. The student will also wish the teacher good morning. After this, the teacher will ask, "How are you all, students?" The students will answer, "We are fine. Thank you, sir." The teacher will then ask the students to name some of the natural disasters. The students will answer flood, earthquake, and volcanic eruptions. The component used is set induction. The teacher will ask the Shubhi the question, "What do you know about volcano?" Shubhi will answer, "When a volcano erupts, it expels lava, gases, and rocks with tremendous force." The component used is establishing and maintaining contact with students. The teacher will then lecture, "Volcano is a mountain that extends down to a pool of magma between the crust and mantle. It's basically a hole in the earth from which magma can erupt." The teacher will lecture now that the earth consists of 3 layers. The outer layer of earth we live on is called the crust. Below the crust lies a thick layer called the mantle. A combination of molten rock and gases called magma lies between the earth. The students will listen attentively. The components of the skill is clarity of language and use of visual aids. The teacher will then tell the students that the name of volcano comes from a little island in the Mediterranean Sea called Volcano, a god of fire in Roman mythology. The students will listen attentively. The teacher will then tell the students volcanoes are like huge safety valves that release the pressure that build up inside the earth. Magma shoots up through the volcano and flows down the sides. When magma flows out of a volcano, we call it lava. The students will listen attentively. The component is establishing and maintaining contact with students. The teacher will then tell the students that eruptions can cause mudslides, avalanches, and floods. As they erupt, volcanoes spent huge clouds of volcanic ash into the atmosphere. The ash consists of tiny bits of rocks and glass. The students will listen attentively. The component is clarity of language and the simplicity in speaking. The teacher will ask Vinita to answer, "How does volcanic ash damage human beings?" Vinita answered, "Volcanic ash damage the lungs and cause respiratory problems." The component is establishing and maintaining contact. The teacher will now lecture about classification of volcanoes. The first class is life cycle volcano, that refers to their life cycle or level of activity. The students will listen attentively. The component is use of audio visual aids. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to my video to motivate me, share it with others, and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. The teacher will then show the chart of classification of the type volcano. Type volcano refers to three types: shield volcano, cinder cone volcano, and composite volcano. The students will listen attentively. The component used are clarity of language and use of audio visual aids. The teacher will again show the chart of classification of eruption volcano and tell the students that the next classification is eruption volcano, which are based upon the type of eruption they produce: explosive or central or quiet or fissure volcano. The students will listen attentively. The component used is the simplicity in speaking and use of audio-visual aids. The teacher will then tell that the volcano is basically a hole in the earth from which magma can erupt. They are like huge safety valves. Volcano can be classified as life cycle volcanoes, type volcano, and eruption classification. Then the students will listen attentively. The component used is closure. The teacher will wind off the class by saying that today we discussed about the volcanoes and asked the students whether they have understood the lesson, and as homework write answers of the following questions. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe.